Hello guys, welcome back to LeetCode. So in our SQL series where we have been solving some top 50 questions of LeetCode, I'm back with another question, friend request part 2. Okay, so in this question we have been given a table request accepted which has 3 columns: requester ID, acceptor ID and accept date. Okay, here requester ID, here accept date is the date when the user accepted the friend request. Okay, and requester ID and acceptor ID are the combination of primary key. Okay, these two columns combine to be the primary key of that table. What we have to do is we have to write a solution to find the people who have the most friends and the most friends number. Okay, so out of this table we have to find the person who has most number of friends. Okay, now here is an example. Let's look at the example and understand the question more deeply. So this is the example. Now here we will be writing our user ID. So user ID 1, user ID 2, user ID 3 and user ID 4 as shown in the requester ID and acceptor ID columns. Okay, on the basis of these two columns I have listed out the users, and now we will see that how many friends these all users have. Okay, so user ID 1 is a friend of user ID 2. Okay, and user ID 1 is friend of user ID 3 as per the given data in the table. So user ID 1 has 2 friends. Okay, now ID 2 is a friend of user ID 3 and user ID 2 is friend of user ID 1. Okay, as per the data in the table. So user ID 2 has 2 friends. Okay, now user ID 3 has one friend. User ID 3 has another friend as user ID 2 and user ID 3 has another friend as user ID 1. So in total user ID 3 has 3 friends. Now user ID 4 has only one friend, that is our user ID 3. So if you look at the data, only user ID 3 has most number of friends, that is 3 friends. Okay, whereas user ID 1 has 2 friends and user ID 2 has 2 friends and user ID 4 has only 1 friend. Okay, so we have to write the query for say using subqueries. Okay, so let's start with the query. Here first we will select our requester ID and acceptor ID. Here the requester ID will be represented as ID and the acceptor ID we can represent it as a num. Okay, here we will select requester ID, our ID from our request accepted table, and then again I will select acceptor ID column as our num from request accepted table. Okay, and I will apply union all. Okay, as you can see there are duplicate data available in this table as requester ID 1 is appearing 2 times in the row. Okay, and requester ID acceptor ID 3 is appearing 2 times in 2 rows. Okay, so for that I will be using union all, because if we just use union you won't be able to use all the duplicate data. Okay, so I will apply a union all. This will give us the IDs of requesters and acceptor, okay, of all the users who have requested and accepted the friend request. Okay, now we will use this as our subquery, and here I will write the main query where we will select ID and the count of people who accepted the friend request. Okay, so count star as num from this subquery, as we will name this subquery as a friend request of friend. Okay, just for reference. So here in this subquery we got selected all the IDs. Okay, now what we will do is we require only one row. First we will group the results. Okay, so we will apply group by clause for ID column. Then we require only one row. Okay, only one row. if you look at the data over here, we calculated that user ID 1 has 2 friends. Okay, user ID 2 has 2 friends, user ID 3 has 3 friends, and user ID 4 has only 1 friend. Okay, so if we order this num row, this num column in descending order, then we will get 3 as the topmost value. Okay, so we will apply order by clause in for this num column to get 3 at the topmost row, and then we will limit the result to only 1. So using limit 1, we will get only 3 as our output. Okay, so we will apply order by num and descending, okay, where we will limit the output to 1. Okay, let's run it and check if it is correct or not. So our query is correct and we got our expected output. So let's understand what exactly we did over. First, we wrote this subquery. What this subquery did is, this subquery returned the ID. Okay, let's run this subquery and check what exactly it returned. If we just run this subquery, so here we got all the IDs. Okay, all the IDs of people who accepted and requested the friend request. Okay, so after getting all this ID, selected ID and the count of people, okay, as we require the total count of friends, so we applied the count function to all the people. Okay, then we group the results and then applied the order by clause in descending order and limiting the output to only 1 row. So this was our query. Do practice the same query in your LeetCode and let me know in comment section if it is helping. Okay, share it with your friends. Do subscribe SheCodes. Like the video if this question was helpful to you, and bye bye. Happy coding.